My spouse, Sasha, meant the world to me. Together, we crafted a life that I viewed as almost perfect. We tackled early financial challenges, advanced in our careers, purchased our home, explored new places, shared laughter, and navigated the highs and lows every couple faces. Above all, I always believed mutual respect and fidelity bound us. I felt we were a united team. Sasha was a resolute woman, always quick with solutions, and I cherished that quality. Her intelligence and resilience inspired me, and I took pride in having such a determined partner by my side. As years passed, the spark of romance dimmed, but that didn't trouble me. I saw our bond as rooted in deeper foundations, companionship, trust, and shared memories. Isn't that what truly counts in a marriage? Then there was Mark, my closest friend since high school. In our younger days, we were inseparable, confiding in each other about first loves, ambitions, and setbacks. When I met Sasha, Mark urged me to pursue her. He was my steadfast ally, always reliable. Over our 23 years of marriage, he remained a constant presence. Mark wasn't merely a friend, he was family. Sasha liked him greatly, which pleased me. It showed our lives were in harmony. He joined us for Sunday meals, lent a hand with household tasks, and offered emotional support during tough times, like our early financial hardships. I believed Mark was loyal with every ounce of my being. He was the friend I played soccer with on Thursdays, the best man at our wedding, and the one who always praised our relationship. I trusted him as much as I trusted Sasha, never imagining that trust could be misplaced. Over time, as with any couple, our daily life grew predictable, routine. Sasha and I had disagreements, but I thought we resolved them maturely. At times, she seemed distant, but I chalked it up to work stress or responsibilities. After over 2 decades together, it's normal for passion to fade slightly. Still, I believed our bond was enduring. Mark, meanwhile, brought balance. When Sasha was upset or stressed, his humor lightened the mood, making gatherings more pleasant. Sometimes she laughed more with him than with me, but I saw no issue. He was my best friend. Looking back, I see hints I overlooked. Subtle signs, not bold warnings. For instance, Sasha and Mark occasionally shared private conversations or inside jokes I didn't grasp. Once, I stepped into the kitchen and returned to find them chuckling over something secretive. When I asked, Sasha said, "Oh, it's nothing, James. You wouldn't find it funny." I brushed it off, trusting them both. Why would I doubt them? Another time, during a trip when Mark stayed at our house for a week, a common occurrence for his business visits, I woke one night to find Sasha missing from our bedroom. I found her in the living room, talking with Mark. They said they were discussing a documentary, and I accepted it. Why wouldn't I? For 23 years, I felt secure in my marriage. I saw Sasha as my lifelong companion, standing by me through everything. Mark was like a brother. I believed our trio, our friendship and partnership, was unbreakable. It never occurred to me that their betrayal would be the devastating blow I never saw coming. As I walked to my car, Sasha's words replayed in my mind like a stuck record. Mark and I are together. We fell in love. Love? What kind of love thrives on deceit and betrayal? They built their romance while I worked to sustain our home, care for our children, and believe we shared a life. The world felt like a cruel prank. I climbed into my car, slamming the door, trying to contain the storm of emotions swirling inside. My breaths were heavy, and for a moment, I thought I might collapse. Anger, pain, betrayal, they blended into an overwhelming mix. My vision blurred, but I took a deep breath. I didn't want to cry. I couldn't, but the agony was unbearable. How could Sasha do this after 23 years? How could Mark shatter the friendship we'd had since childhood? These were the people I trusted most, now sitting together, holding hands, plotting a new life at my expense. Driving home, my thoughts raced. How could they have the nerve to betray me? More importantly, how did I miss it? I began piecing together every moment, every exchange between Sasha and Mark, searching for clues I'd overlooked. The signs were there, their private chats, shared laughter, moments when their connection seemed stronger than I realized. My anger grew, not loud and wild, but deep and deliberate. I knew I had to act. I couldn't let them move on as if nothing happened, leaving me with the shattered remains of my life. I considered exposing them to family and friends, tarnishing their reputations, or making them pay financially. My mind explored many paths, but one thing was clear. I couldn't act rashly. If I sought justice, it had to be planned and precise. They schemed their betrayal. I would craft my response with equal care. Though the thought of revenge offered brief relief, the weight of their treachery crushed me. At home, I sank onto the living room couch, staring blankly for hours. The silence in the house was deafening. I felt abandoned, alone. The two pillars of my life, Sasha and Mark, had crumbled together, leaving me to figure out how to move forward. In the days that followed, the pain was so intense I could barely work or look at my children without choking up. I sought a therapist, someone to confide in. Admitting I needed help was tough, but I knew I couldn't continue like this. In therapy, I poured out everything. How Sasha and Mark obliterated my trust, how the betrayal consumed me, and how my anger and desire for justice kept me awake. The therapist listened patiently, urging me to focus on healing, but I knew that wasn't enough. I craved fairness. Each session helped me sort my thoughts. Amid the grief from my lost marriage and friendship, I began plotting a way forward. I couldn't let them win, believing they could move on without consequence. I spent sleepless nights planning how to make them feel the weight of their actions. I wanted something impactful, not fleeting, a response that would leave a lasting mark. Revenge wouldn't erase my pain, but it would be my closure, my answer to what they stole. I jotted down ideas, researched options, and watched their moves. Sasha assumed I'd signed the divorce papers without protest, accepting defeat passively. She was mistaken. Yet, part of me wrestled with this thirst for justice. The betrayal left me raw, but I feared becoming as heartless as they were. It was a constant struggle, moving on versus making them pay. With each day, though, the call for fairness grew stronger. They didn't deserve to walk away unscathed. The more I thought, the surer I became that I'd act, but on my terms, at my pace. They destroyed my trust. Now I dismantled what they valued. My plan against Mark wasn't just about justice. It was essential. He wasn't just a friend. He was like a brother, someone I trusted completely for decades. Yet he shattered that without hesitation. That closeness, though, gave me an edge. I knew his secrets, just as he once knew mine. Mark was a prominent figure in our town, holding a high role at a company that relied on his reputation. He prided himself on being respected, always maintaining appearances. But I knew his hidden flaws and where to strike. I began by gathering information, sifting through old messages and conversations where he confided in me. Mark trusted me so much he never imagined I'd use his words against him. He forgot a simple truth. Never betray someone who knows your vulnerabilities. He was especially proud of his professional image as a manager at a major firm, a role demanding skill and an untarnished reputation. That's where I started. Once, over drinks, he boasted about skimming small amounts from team bonuses for personal perks, saying, "It's just pennies, James. Everyone does it. No one will notice." I tucked that away, thinking it was just talk. Now, it was a cornerstone of my plan. Finding evidence was easier than expected. Mark was careless with his emails and files, even using my computer at times, leaving me access to some passwords. With some digging, I found documents proving his actions. I sent them anonymously to his company's compliance department, along with a detailed letter outlining his schemes. The fallout was swift. An investigation began, and Mark was placed on administrative leave. When he learned of it, he came to me, oblivious to my role. The irony nearly made me laugh. "Man, you won't believe what's happening," he said, voice heavy with worry. "They're accusing me of embezzling. It's ridiculous. Someone's out to get me." I shrugged, keeping my face neutral. Watching him unravel was indescribable, but I knew this was just the start. Mark's job wasn't my only target. His marriage to Amanda was another vulnerability. He bragged about their perfect relationship, calling her the love of his life. But I knew he'd been unfaithful long before betraying me. He shared stories of his affairs casually, never suspecting I'd use them. After his work troubles escalated, I struck his personal life. I compiled evidence of his past affairs, messages and photos he'd shared, and sent them anonymously to Amanda, ensuring she couldn't trace it to me. The result was catastrophic. Amanda confronted him, and from what I heard, the fight was explosive, ending with her throwing his belongings out. She filed for divorce within days, spreading the truth about him to their friends and family. Mark's image as a devoted husband and respected man collapsed. In weeks, Mark lost everything: his job, his wife, his reputation. The company fired him for misconduct, and he faced legal action for embezzlement. Amanda demanded a large share of their assets, leaving him financially ruined. The once perfect friend was now alone, buried in debt and shame. From a distance, I watched. I felt no joy, only a bitter satisfaction. He deserved his downfall for destroying our friendship. But it wasn't enough. Mark paid, but Sasha remained untouched. If she thought she could escape consequences, she was gravely mistaken. She was next. Turning to Sasha, I knew her betrayal, as painful as Mark's, required a different approach. She built her life around an image of stability and independence. But much of her success rested on our shared foundation, our home, car, vacations, all woven with my contributions. She used that stability to start her new life with Mark. Now I'd dismantle it. Sasha was a manager in an office, a role she held with pride, relishing her image as a strong, self-reliant woman. I began gathering evidence of her carelessness, messages, photos, and financial transactions showing she used our joint funds for her affair with Mark. As I planned my next steps, I began talking with our sons, Ethan and Ryan. I didn't want to use them as tools, but I felt they deserved the truth. One evening at dinner, I gently guided the conversation. "Have you noticed anything unusual about your mom lately?" I asked. Ethan, the elder, paused before replying. "Yeah, she's been acting odd, always on her phone, leaving the house at strange times." That was enough to spark their curiosity. Sasha's actions had already raised suspicions, and I knew they'd soon confront her themselves. The turning point came at a family dinner with our closest relatives. Sasha was at ease, laughing and talking as if nothing was wrong. I waited for the perfect moment before speaking. "Before we go on, there's something everyone should know," I said, my voice steady but resolute. Sasha froze, her smile vanishing. The room grew quiet as I displayed messages, compromising photos, and financial records from her and Mark on the TV screen. The evidence was undeniable. Sasha's face paled. "James, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Just revealing the truth," I replied. "After 23 years of marriage, everyone deserves to know who you truly are." The room was stunned. My mother, who had always cherished Sasha, began to weep. My brother stared at her as if she were a stranger. The most painful reactions came from Ethan and System and Ryan. Ethan stormed out, overwhelmed by what he saw, while Ryan sat still, tears rolling down his cheeks. When Sasha tried to follow them, Ryan stopped her. "Don't touch me, Mom," he said, his voice quivering. "How could you do this to us?" That night marked the start of Sasha's downfall. Word of her affair spread swiftly through both families. Friends who once respected her began to keep their distance, and even her closest allies questioned their loyalty. Sasha became an outcast, her carefully built life crumbling. But I wasn't finished. With my lawyer's help, I filed for divorce and ensured Sasha received as little as possible. Using the evidence I gathered, I proved her infidelity, persuading the court to favor me. The house, car, and savings remained mine. I went further, anonymously sending proof of her affair to her workplace, showing she misused company time and resources. Within weeks, she was jobless. The woman who once prided herself on her independence was now unemployed, homeless, and without family support. Ethan and Ryan chose to stay with me. Ethan cut contact with Sasha entirely, while Ryan, though conflicted at first, eventually couldn't forgive her betrayal. "I can't even look at you, Mom," Ryan said during a mediated talk. "You didn't just betray Dad, you betrayed us all." Sasha's tears no longer moved me. She had shattered every relationship in her life, and was now facing the consequences. When I left the house to begin anew, I felt closure. Sasha was left with nothing but the results of her choices. She lost her husband, her children, her family, and the financial security she once had. Mark, too, was in ruins. As for me, I was free. Sasha tried to reconnect with Ethan and Ryan, but they weren't ready to forgive, and perhaps they never would. She had chosen a selfish romance over our family, and now she lived in the isolation she created. My actions weren't just about exposing her. They were about showing that choices have consequences. In the end, I reclaimed my life and swore never to let anyone betray me again.